Okay, we're going to open the last session of the day. If anyone is outside, would they please come inside? We're starting with a series of very intriguing talks, all from abroad. So they will all be by Zoom. And we're starting with Dr. Marc Arazi from France, from the Phonegate organization, who is going to be giving us a talk on the international Phonegate scandal, all overexposed, all deceived, all endangered by our mobile phones. Phonegate scandal. Okay. Marc,
hi.
The floor is yours.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Do you hear me?
We hear you very well, yes.
Yeah. So, hi everybody. I'm very glad to be with you for this meeting from France, like you here. And I would like, before the beginning of my presentation, say a very big thanks to Paul Benichai for his invitation. I'm going to explain you how we have all been overexposed, all deceived, all endangered by our mobile phones, and what is the evidence for saying something so important. Please, next slide. Just a short bio to say that I'm a French physician, and now it's 15 years that I'm really concerned about the health effects of the waves of our cell phones. And 3 years ago, I launched the alert on Phonegate scandal when I read a report from our national agency, whose name is ANSES. And 2 years after, I co-founded with many organizations the Phonegate Alert NGO. Next slide, please. So you understand that we are a very young organization, and most of the work we are doing, because it's going very fast now. We are in contact with something like 50 countries. And the work we are doing is to inform all the country about Phonegate scandal. And for this, we have two different feeds. We have a very important scientific, how do you say that, board, a very important scientific board with people like, you see that Deborah is in the board, Dr. Miller or Dr. Oleg Grigoriev, or a lot of very famous scientists. That's for the scientists. And also we have created, and we will talk about that a little later, a consortium, a lawyer consortium of international to make legal action against industry. That's our aim goal. Please, other slide, please. You don't have the latest slide, but it's okay. Just to see that now all over the world we are talking about Phonegate scandal in France, and also recently in US, in the Chicago Tribune, and a lot of countries. Please, other slide. You see that at this, it was nearly nearly 2 years ago now that Sam Rowe, with Pulitzer Prize journalist, sent me this email you see there, and he wrote a very important article in the Chicago Tribune in August 2019, and he revealed all the American part of the scandal of the Phonegate. Next slide, please. So now you have also in the French Wikipedia a special page on Phonegate. Next slide, please. So what is Phonegate scandal? Most important to understand that the way we are using our cell phone is completely different than the way we measure the SAR with with protecting our health. So now we have all the evidence to show that this difference is much more important than what industry say. Please, next slide. And because we are in Israel, you have to understand that the world is in two parts. Very simply, most of the country, 150, they are using ICNIRP rules, and the other part, a very small part, 19 countries, are using the FCC rules. They use it in 1996, and you see that it's concerned United States, Canada, and other countries like India or Iran. And you will see that the next slide. You see the world, and you see, well, maybe you don't see it, but Israel is using ICNIRP regulation. And in light green, you see that the country who are using FCC regulation, like United States or Canada. This slide is from the GSMA, the Organization of Industry. Next slide. So, when you say something like that, do you hear me? Because yes, I don't see you more.
Yes, we hear you. We hear you very well.
Okay, thank you. When you say that, it is very important to understand that all the information we have are from our national government agency. And also what is important, that they were kept secret. And what, first of all, I've done an alert, a whistleblower, and after that with the organization, is to force the French government to publish all those data. And those data, you know what is ANSES, it's our national agency, and they were quite courageous, because they, first of all, they didn't put all the data, but they say something very important in 2016, that 90% of the cell phone was tested by our national agency frequency, ANFR, was much more than the SAR limit, than the 2 watts by kilo for the SAR limit. Please, next slide. And it is already a big battle, but it was also, since 3 years, a very tough battle, legal battle. But we obtained that the National French Agency published now like 600 cell phone retest reports, and you can go very easily, if you are with a computer, on the link you see data.anfr.fr explore, and you could see for each cell phone which has been tested by our national agency, a big part of the data about the real exposure of all the users. And what is important to understand, that at this moment, we didn't have the original and the integral data. And we are in a big battle with French government to have all those, and it's clearly not finished. Next slide. Here you can see a very small part, for example, about the result of those cell phone tests on SAR. And you see, for example, Polaroid. When the manufacturer in the notice, you can see that for the body SAR, it was 1.05 watt by kilo for 10 grams. But when the national agency tested it with laboratory, it was not 1.05, it was 7.42. So you see, it was 3 times the limit, and it's worse with the HTC. You see that HTC, it was 0.3. Oh, very good sound, but it was not 0.3. At 0 millimeters, it was 7.18. So you see the difference. It was something like 20 times what was saying the manufacturer. Next slide. And you see with this slide the same, but not with the national agency control, because this test was made by Sam Road and the Chicago Tribune, and it was independent test. And when he put this test on the media, and at the same time, Apple and Samsung say, "Oh no, it's not real. It's not the good level of good SAR level." It is, but you can see the same level in the legal report we have in France. So if you look at, for example, iPhone 7, you see that it was, at the first time, you see that they were not in the legal norm of 1.6. It was 2.5, and after for the test at 5 millimeters, and when we tested for 2 millimeters, like you have it in a pocket, you see it was more than 7.5. You see the difference with 3 millimeters, the difference of exposure, and it was, if you see the Samsung, the Galaxy S8 for 8.42. Please, next slide. And it's not finished, because what we have to understand, because we are in Israel, you have the 10 gram measurement, like in Europe. You see the same Polaroid Pro with 1.05 announced by the manufacturer. It was 7.2 for 10 gram, but now for 1 gram, it is nearly 15 watt by kilo. And we know that because Professor Gandhi, who is one of the members of our organization, make a special paper in the EEE newspaper, and a very important article in April 2019 to talk about this difference about 1 gram and 10 gram. So you imagine you have a limit for the safety limit for human, it's 2, and with the 10 gram, you are something like 15 just for Polaroid, and HTC 14.2. And it's the same for a lot of cell phone. Please, next slide. And because everything in the way we are testing our cell phone is completely unrealistic, you understand that it was the distance with the body. You understand that there was a problem of 1 gram, 10 gram. You have also the problem about the time of exposure. While we are using in Europe 6 minutes, in United States 30 minutes, but both are not real used by user. You can imagine if you are using for yourself 6 minutes yourself by day. So I think you have the answer. Please, next slide. And also, Professor Fernandez and Professor Gandhi also are very upset about the problem with the exposure of the children, because now children using younger the cell phone, and that's a major problem too. Please, next slide. So when you read history is being written, and you will be really surprised about what we are going to talk, because in Israel at this moment, maybe you never heard about Phonegate, and you never heard about what we are doing at this moment in France and in the other country. Please, next slide. So now I'm not going to talk too much about the report of July 2016 of ANSES, but we had just in October a new report. You see what's going on after this new report. Now we are going to test mobile phone in contact with the skin for all the SAR. That's what asked for answer to the public authority. We are going to remove all the mobile phones with high SAR sold before June 2016 and no longer keep your phone in contact with your body. And something very important for, I don't know if there is people who are going to make study in the next years, but in this report, you can see that there was just one study made on human with the SAR more than 2 watts by kilo. Please, next slide. And now, also at the end of October 2019, you can see that France requests the European Commission to test all the SAR at a distance of 0 millimeters. And at this moment, we have been received in January, at the beginning of January 2020, at the economic minister, because we are preparing a very important meeting with all the French manufacturers to see how we are going to put away, to withdraw or to update hundreds of different cell phone models. And all this, you can see that we make a lot of progress, but not enough. We will see why. Please, next slide. So in France now, in a few months, we have many cell phones has been withdrawn or updated. Here you can see the AP30 of mobile wire. It was something like 100,000 mobile phones have been withdrawn from the market. You see other cell phone has been withdrawn. And next slide. And you see here, all the cell phone has been tested by ANFR with a SAR limit much higher than 2 watts by kilo. And they have all been forced to be updated. And you see that most of the most important, like Xiaomi, Nokia, Wiko, and Huawei, and Alcatel, are in this list. Next slide. I see that Theodora was talking before me, and also that Deborah will be part of this meeting. And I would like to thank, because we launched a very important appeal in Paris in June 2018 with Dr. Annie Sasko too, and to say that we need to have this withdrawal of millions of cell phones. Now we turn it for France. We are going to ask for all the country, because it's not just in France the problem. It's in all the country, all over the world. Please, next slide. And here you have all the manufacturers, and just a word on Samsung, because they make their advertising to say they are very, very good SAR. You see, it's completely the inverse, and it's very, very bad, manufacturer when you talk about SAR. Please, next slide. So here you can see the action we are doing now. It was I was at the European Parliament with French and European deputy to talk about Phonegate. It was in November 2019. Next slide. So we are going to go fast. We have a lot of things to say about health issue. Next slide. So a very important part, it's the consequence of this overexposure. what we think now with some scientists we are talking that maybe we can understand why people became electro-hypersensitive, because we understand now that we have all been overexposed in an acute and chronic term, and we have now, if there is scientists in this around this meeting, most important part of the study has to understand what consequence was this overexposure, because people have been exposed like something like 40 or 50 watt by kilo every day for years. So we have to understand what consequence, and maybe to see if the appearance of electro-hypersensitivity, maybe it's a consequence of this overexposure. Just because we say 300 million are concerned, the ANSES say that it was 5 million people who suffer from electro-hypersensitivity in France, just in France. Next slide. We don't have it was not my presentation, so I will just give you this information. Just a few days ago, our national agency, whose name is Santé Publique France, make very important information about the brain cancer. What you have to know that now in France, there is 4 more times cancer in 2018 than 30 years ago. And we make, it's something like 50,000 people who died from glioblastoma in 20 years in France. And what they say, and it's important to hear that one of the factor of this glioblastoma and brain tumor could be the radiofrequency. Next slide. So to finish, because I see that I'm near the time, we are at this moment in a very, very important legal battle all over the world. Please, next slide. In France, we have launched in April 2019 and June 2 criminal actions, one against Xiaomi and one against Nokia. And at the same moment, we have with the French lawyer of the consortium make a class action with 100 people at this moment in this class action against Nokia and Xiaomi. Next slide. So it's not what I say. What I was saying is it's not only in France now, because after the revelation of the Chicago Tribune, now you have many legal action all over the world, and it begins by US and Canada. You see the name of the lawyers who are making legal action. I can say that just at the end of last week, a judge of California accept to make the legal action against Apple, and now we have we know that it will be in July 2021 that Apple will have a jury, a popular jury, and we have to explain himself to the judge. Next slide. So just one word about 5G. I see that I'm in time. Just a word about 5G. It's very important to understand that there is an international discussion, and industry will have to respond.
I just want to make sure you're hearing.
Yeah, I'm fine. Thank you. Bye.
Okay? Yeah. So there is a global deception, and when we are talking about the development of 5G everywhere, I think it's very important to understand that with the work we are doing, because Phonegate will be 10 times Dieselgate, because all manufacturers will have to explain to injustice what they've done. So I think it's very important to understand this deception, this global deception, when we are talking about 5G. Next slide. So, in conclusion, we have a very, very powerful industry. They do a lot not to have to answer about this new international scandal, but with the help of many organizations, scientists, and lawyers all over the world, I'm sure that we will have we will make like David against Goliath, because we are in Israel. I still like David, and I hope that with this short presentation, you will have enough information to make the possible to make the change also in Israel. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We have time for one short question.
Marc, can you hear me?
Yeah, but it will be great, because I see you at all. If you can put off my slide, I can see you a little more, because I see like a very, very, very small. Yeah.
Okay. Stop sharing.
No, at this. Oh, very good. Thank you. I think it's better for me, because it's difficult to talk to people you don't see. Sorry for that.
Hi, Marc, and thanks for the incredible, important work that you do. Could you be a bit more explicit and say why you think your work on Phonegate is the ultimate weapon against 5G?
Yeah, because it's a global deception. It's always the same, because if you want to measure, to make a measurement for the SAR of a 5G cell phone, you have to understand that you will have two different indicators. You will have the SAR indicator, and you will have a new indicator whose name is power density. And at this moment, because I've been going very fast, because
I'm sorry, what was the second indicator that you mentioned? Oh, power density. Okay.
Yeah, you will have both for the new cell phone with 5G. You will have these two indicators in the same time. And what I can tell you that there is no possibility at this time to make a good measurement about the real exposure on 5G. And that's it's a big problem, because you hear that the SAR is a very bad indicator. So you understand that with my presentation that we have a problem with the SAR, but we have also a problem with the power density, and we have also a problem with both of them, because the work of both of them, sorry, I don't see you anymore. That's why it's a very, very complicated to make a good measurement of the human exposure.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you.
We'll thank the speaker at this moment. Thank you very much, Marc, and thank you.
Thank you. Bye.